Hello, my name's Karen and I'm the Special Collections Archivist at the University of Sussex. My principal role is to look after and make available the archives, rare books and unique collections at the University of Sussex. My typical day can be really varied. So I might be talking to people, talking to researchers who want to come and use the archives for their work or their book or their play. I might be delivering a teaching session to some higher education students, getting them to use primary sources in their dissertations and assignments. I might be talking to volunteers and showing them how to list an archive. So one of the really important things that we need to do is make sure that the things that we have are available for people to look at. And one of our key jobs, and we're never going to finish it, is getting it all listed and put up onto our website. So we use a lot of volunteers for that. So I might be working with volunteers. I might be listing archives myself, so that might involve a little bit of research, finding out who that person is, or a little bit about that organisation who created the archive. I need a lot of attention to detail. There's a lot more manual handling in being an archivist than you might think, because things come to us and they might be in massive boxes or plastic bags or crates, and we need to put those into proper archival storage. So I'm often moving boxes around, taking things out of boxes and putting them into other boxes. It's really varied, I would say, and I am office-based, so I work in a building called The Keep with lots of other people involved in the archive profession, but I do a lot on the university campus because I'm in charge of the artworks that are on campus, so I might be walking around looking at those. I might have to go somewhere to assess an archive that someone wants to give us, so just to check it is what we need, so I might have to do a little bit of travelling. But that's not a major part of my role, and obviously no one's role at the moment. But I quite like it because I'm not stuck in my office all the time. There's opportunities for me to work in other areas of the building. I might be working in the store, which is climate controlled, so I always need to make sure I've got another jumper with me because it can be really chilly in there. And I might be talking to members of the public down in our reading room. So I quite like it. I'm not just stuck in my office all the time. I suppose my top skill that I use, is oral communication, so talking and speaking, but also listening. Lots of people come and tell us their stories, and it's really important that we listen to them. I also think staying positive is a really good skill. The heritage sector is really squeezed at the minute, so the local councils being asked to make lots of cuts and things, and sometimes the heritage sector is part of those cuts. So it's about staying positive and being creative with what you can do to make sure that your service can still flourish and you can still make people enthused and excited about archives. And I think in terms of getting into the profession or being part of that profession, I think it's really, really, really important that the archive profession has lots of different people and lots of different voices as part of it. We sort of see ourselves as being in charge of the nation's history and culture, but actually that belongs to everybody, and so everybody should get involved with being part of it. So I suggest get in touch with your local heritage institution. They always want volunteers. Find out about it. Get in there on the ground and see what it's like. That's the nitty gritty, because there might be an idea that if you really like history, it's a great place to be part of, and that's true. But there's also those mundane little officey things or little admin-y things that go along with it too. So I really, really like my job because of the variety. Every day can be a bit different and I have to react to different things. And I think the more new people, creative people we get involved, it's going to be great. We're learning a lot of digital skills now because though I work predominantly with paper-based things, more and more things that we need to hold on to are being created digitally, so I'm learning how to preserve those, and that's not just backing up, there's a lot more to it, so I'm constantly updating my skill set. So I would say it's quite an exciting profession to be in, and actually the information professions, archivists, librarians, information governance, records managers, they're really exciting things to be in at the moment because there's so much information around. Knowing how to assess it, to value it, to see what's evidence, see what needs to be kept. These are really important skills at the moment. So um, I'm always open to talk to people about the profession.
Hello, my name's Suzanne and I'm the Education Outreach Officer for the Mass Observation Archive based at the Keep, which is an archive centre in East Sussex. I've been asked to describe a typical working day. My days are quite varied, so I work 3 days a week at the Keep and I'm based in an open plan office along with colleagues from Mass Observation, as well as those who work for other partner organisations also based at the Keep. And these include the East Sussex Record Office, the Royal Pavilion and Museums Brighton and Hove, and the University of Sussex Special Collections team. My day usually involves some kind of education activity, so this might be teaching a class of students, giving a talk, showing a group around the Keep, working with volunteers, so I support students on work experience placements as well as other volunteers wanting to gain experience with archives, or responding to inquiries from students or teachers, or designing education resources. I also do quite a lot of outreach work, so outside of the Keep. So this might be supporting groups in the wider community, such as in community centres or teaching in prison. And I really enjoy this aspect of my work, engaging with lots of diverse groups, supporting people with their learning, and also connecting them with the archive collections. I also get involved in planning meetings, so this might be planning public events with other colleagues at the Keep, or fundraising for different projects, as well as planning programmes of work with the Mass Observation Archive. In terms of a favourite part of my job, I think this would be any time when I've made the archive more accessible to people, so breaking down some of those barriers to engagement with the collections and using the archive in new and exciting ways. In terms of skills that I have to use in my job, again, these are quite varied. Obviously with teaching, lots of communication skills, so lots of speaking as well as listening skills are really important. But I would say my number one skill is creativity. I have to use my imagination a great deal to be able to design programmes of work to engage people with the collections and make them exciting and relevant. And I really enjoy generating new ideas by exploring the archives and bringing them to new audiences. My advice, if you wanted to get into working in the heritage sector, particularly within education and outreach, is to get some work experience, to figure out what you really would enjoy. When I was at school and I did my work experience placement, I was convinced I wanted to be a museum curator. So I managed to get some experience in my local museum. And whilst I was there, I worked alongside the education officer. And I realised that I really enjoyed putting on an exhibition, designing costumes for dressing up for local school children to use when they came to visit the museum. And I was really much more interested in working with wider community groups and engaging them as audiences to the museum than I was in doing any kind of academic-based research or working as a curator. So from then I went on to get more experience at the museum while I studied for my degree, which is in the history of modern art, design and film. And then I went on to work for lots of different charities, so I could work with lots of different community groups and build my experience. I would definitely advise, if you want to work in any kind of education role, that you get a qualification in teaching. This will give you a really strong grounding in education and a really good understanding in how education works. And even if you don't really want to work in a school or teach in a school, it'll be a really useful qualification to have to work in the heritage sector within education too. But also, I think building any kind of experience or developing your skills will give you confidence and will mean that you have lots more to offer. It's quite difficult to get a job in the heritage sector. Roles tend to be fixed term or part-time, and quite often you'll find that you may end up having a portfolio career. So lots of people choose to have more than one job. So having lots of different skills to offer will mean that you can have a variety of roles, either in the heritage sector or more broadly. So for example, I freelance alongside my work at the Mass Observation Archive. I work as an external moderator for the Arts Award, which is a qualification in the arts for young people, and I also evaluate arts and heritage projects. About 10 years ago, I even went back to college myself and I retrained as a florist. And I ran my own floristry business doing wedding flowers, and I also taught floristry at Plumpton College. So it just goes to show that you can follow your own career pathway and incorporate all of your passions and all of your interests, and you don't necessarily just have to do one job.